Don't use negotiating tactics that scream amateur and will just get you nothing but a no in the long run. Hi, I'm Saul Carter, and I am all about business sense, common sense, and being that uncommon realtor. And I'm here to talk about 5 things that people like to do when they negotiate and they think they're being super smart, but these are things that will end up killing your deal and creating tons of mistrust throughout the entire transaction if you ever get that far. So, why do these tactics not work in this market? Well, the market is softening, right? And so sellers don't have 10 offers on the backside. So if they have this super awesome offer, they'll put up with some crap because they know they've got some stuff on the backside if they just want to get rid of it. But now they're not feeling confident, they are feeling extra anxious. And when you're messed with in an anxious milieu going around, you cancel the deal immediately on the regular. And why is that? Because you don't want to get stuck with somebody who ends up nickel and diming you through the entire transaction just to save a little bit here and there. You want to find somebody who loves your home and makes the transaction as easy as possible, right? So let's talk about them. The 5 tactics, and number 5 is the one that is not only going to kill your reputation, but it's going to kill your agent's reputation. So if they allow you to do that one, you are not with the right agent. Just going to call that out there, Anyway, so first one is that lowball offer. In today's market, there are agents that just go out there and say they just send out tons and tons of offers, all these lowball offers, and it just creates tons of a bad taste in the seller's mouths, and they just will not close a deal with you. And it's a situation where it's disrespectful to the sellers, and they just don't want to deal with those problems. Now, you can find and you can get lucky, and it takes 100 of those offers even to get anybody to respond to you, because typically when I sit down with a seller and I say, okay, we're going to price it here, and if it comes inside or out under this number here, I'm going to tell them, hey, the seller's already told me that they will not respond to an offer of here or lower. And I get them to sign off on that. So I'm acting on their behalf, and they know that I'm going to do that. And they don't ever even see the offer, right? And a seller cannot respond to an offer that they have not seen, correct? And so you just want to avoid the lowball offer. You can get good deals on property, but man, I've seen some crazy offers out there, 20, 30, 60% below. And it's like, why are you even wasting the paper, right? So anyway, number 2, and this one is really annoying, and it creates undue pressure on people. And most of the time it gets found out quicker than you can say snot. And what is that? It's the fake deadline. So when you say, hey, I really love your property, but you know what? Here's an offer, and it's only good till 5 o'clock today. Well, you're just trying to create this urgency, right? Which is what a used car salesman does when they're trying to get things done, right? You're trying to create false urgency. If you really want that home and they come back to you at 6 p.m. that night, are you going to accept that offer? You probably will. So why not just say, hey, we really want to try to get this done as fast as possible. If you could respond to us this evening, that'd be great. But I know this is your home. It's a big decision to make, but let's get this done. Hopefully this offer is the kind of offer that you just want to jump on anyway, right? And if you frame it that way, you're not creating that mistrust, and you're not creating fake deadlines. As a general rule, if you're creating something fake to try to negotiate with people, you are going to shoot yourself in the foot, right? So now this one is one of the most annoying things. And man, as a realtor, I've run into this so many times. Let's say we've got you into contract and we're going down, we've got these inspections, and man, you're, as a home inspector, they go overboard. Now, it's their job to go overboard. They're trying to disclose every single possible thing that they can find wrong with the property in any way, shape, or form. And what that does is they're trying to avoid liability, because if they don't catch something and then you come back on them, he's gonna owe you probably more than he charged you. And so what we want to do as a realtor is use that list, but not just go, yeah, everything on the list. Do not nickel and dime your sellers. Don't nickel and dime your own realtor. You need to save some of that cachet for the end of the transaction, and keeping everything in a good mood. And you're not going to put, pennies in front of dollars. So here are the most important things you want to make sure that you are negotiating when you see those inspections. Structural stuff that is a danger, and those bigger ticket items that just are, super hard to get over if you're buying a house, especially when you're kind of doing things a little bit on the tight, right? So make sure that you don't nickel and dime. If you're asking for 20 things that cost $100 and you're buying $1 million home, you are nickel and diming somebody. And all they think about is, man, if this is what it's going to be like now, what's it going to be like when they do their final walkthrough and they find something that isn't perfect that they never saw before, right? So think about that. So no nickel and diming people through the transaction. I have a wonderful example of this. I used to be in a little investing group. We used to play cash flow together, all kinds of things. This is 25, 30 years ago. I ended up being the realtor for two different guys in that group. One guy, he would go through and he would do exactly these tactics. He would lowball, he'd get something, he'd come up, right? He would talk to him. But when it came to inspections, as far as he was concerned, this was his time to gut that offer and just get it for the lowest ball price that he could possibly do it. And invariably, he was looking for rental properties. Invariably, he would get a horrible deal if he closed it at all. Second guy, he would come in, he would make an aggressive offer. He would be like, hey, here's what the market says. Here's what I can afford. Here's where we're at. Let's get this deal done. And he literally, most of the time, didn't ask for any stuff. And if he did, he said, hey, look, here's this list of stuff that needs to get fixed. I'm just going to take a lump sum and I'll get it fixed myself. The sellers would give him actually a little bit more than he would ever actually pay for those things, because they didn't have to deal with trying to fix it in escrow, right? Because you can hold up escrows if you say, hey, this has to be done before we close, and it takes 45 days. Well, all of a sudden a 30-day escrow turns into a 75-day escrow, and that's no good, right? But if you just give them some cash and they can go in and the buyer can do that stuff, you get that lower ball offer in your pocket at the end, but you haven't harassed the seller to do it, right? All right, so that's a great way. And invariably, the two guys, one guy got amazing deals almost every single time. The other one ended up with less rental properties, and he ended up basically kind of getting stuck, because there'd be ones that he really wanted, and he would nickel and dime them on the inspections, and then there'd be something on the back end after he was approved and all that stuff, and the seller would be like, nope, not doing anything because you've been a jackass the whole time. So anyway, that is number 3. Number 4 is that thing that we never want to pull out unless you are absolutely serious. And let's be honest, in real estate, you're not that serious. Now, real estate is a serious thing, but it's not life or death. And there's a different way to present things as you're going through, but you definitely don't want to present it this way. And what is that? That is the take it or leave it. If you just basically say, hey, this is my best offer, I don't want to hear from you again unless you're accepting it. Well, you're going to miss out, because people don't like being shoved in the corner. So they might accept an offer from somebody else that literally might be worse than yours, but you're the one who gave them an ultimatum. They do not like that as a general rule. Just people in general, right? Nobody likes being given an ultimatum, and you end up shooting yourself in the foot, and it just doesn't work out for anybody. All right. Last one, and this is a killer, and I have basically not refused, but I have always warned sellers when I get offers from agents that consistently use this tactic. It's not that hard in today's world to figure out. All it takes is a little bit of sleuthing and a phone call, even 25 years ago or 30 years ago. And that is telling people that you have made other offers on other properties and they're accepting it, but you really like theirs better, but they only have till blah, blah, blah. So it's this combination thing that gives this ultimatum, and it makes this phony, hey, we're doing other things besides making an offer on your property. Now remember, this is somebody's home, and people don't like having that stuff thrown into their face. And so do not in any circumstance say, hey, we've got another offer on another property, so this one's, it basically turns into a, hey, this one's take it or leave it, right? They'll just say, hey, whatever, especially if you're an agent that calls up and double checks, right? Let's be honest, as a realtor, it's your job to call up. I call up the lender, I call up the pre-approval, I call up all these different things to make sure that they are real, not just fake pieces of paper. And if there's say, hey, I've got another offer on XYZ property over here, realtors are a small community in the grand scheme of things. I might know that other realtor, it's worth a text. I might just call them up and say, hey, how many offers you got on your property? Do you happen to have one from this agent right here? I do not like doing business with those folks. So don't be that person. What is that? That's top 5 reasons that you can destroy a deal by being too smart in your negotiation. So avoid that at all cost. And this is one of those things that, you know, if you really want to negotiate like a pro, the simplest way to do that is just be straightforward and honest, be kind, and remember this is somebody's home. So focus on transparency and a win-win, right? There are things that you can do. It doesn't mean that you might not get a better deal than the seller, but try to make it a win-win, because in the long run, I promise you, you're gonna be way better off. Be flexible, don't sweat the small stuff, and use that common sense, not those clever tactics, right? And so if you're looking for more tips and tricks, subscribe to my channel right here, and I will talk to you soon. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you think I missed something. There's a